Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. Got a special guest on today that did 29 years straight behind the wall. But I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you who he is, where he's from, and a little bit about his story. Harvey, tell the people about yourself, man, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about you, man.
All right, I'm Harvey Seidel. I'm from Missouri, and grew up on a farm, and I had a good life, until I killed the dude.
Killed the dude. How much time did you end up with?
I had a life sentence with 5 ran together, and I did 29 years on it.
29 years straight.
Yep.
How old were you?
I was 17 when I when I killed that guy.
Did you go to prison at the age of 17?
Yeah, I turned 18 right after I got to prison.
18 right after you got to prison. What was it like, man, being a young kid and they say, hey, we're giving you a life sentence?
I can't even tell you, man. It was just like, I kind of figured when I killed the guy, I'd go do some time, but I never thought a life sentence,
So let's talk about the dude that you killed and why you killed him, man. Because I want the guests to know that. I don't want people to just watch the show and be like, oh, man, he killed someone. He deserves to just go to prison forever. Tell the people why you killed him.
Well, I had a 14-year-old brother. This guy was a 22-year-old distant cousin. He was threatening my brother. He was abusing him. And I knew about the threats, and I stopped it when I could. But when I found out about the abuse, I told my parents. They really didn't believe me. I felt like I had no other option,
And so what'd you do? Tell me how it happened. You went to his house. I mean, you shot him. You stabbed him.
No, I shot him, but it was during deer season. I knew where he'd be hunting at, and so I looked for him until I found him. We had an argument. I was really emotional about it. I was really upset, and he was basically taunting me the whole time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure that out because, you could tell I was upset.
Yeah.
And he said, well, maybe I should give you the same treatment. So I shot him.
How many times did you shoot him?
Just once.
Just once. And that was it. Did he die right away? Did he say something to you like, man, how could you do this? Or was it just that was it?
That was it. He was dead.
And then how long were you free before the cops ended up finding out?
2 days. I tried to play it off like I didn't know what happened or anything, but I figured, man, I just might as well come clean with this. If I try to keep hiding it, then I might get more time. Which I ended up with a lot of time anyway. And
So yeah, it's all right. But let me ask you this, right? So you kill this dude, you go home. What is it? And you're a kid now. What's playing through your mind?
I just had all kinds of emotions going through my mind. I wasn't even thinking about being arrested. I was just thinking about what I'd just done, and I just couldn't believe I just killed somebody,
Yeah. Was there a point in your mind where you were kind of scared to go to prison though? Like, damn, man, I'm probably going to prison for this shit.
Yeah, kind of. I was the main thing in my mind was, I can't believe I'd done this, I just killed somebody.
Yeah.
At
that time in your life, did you feel like he deserved to die, or was it on impulse?
It was kind of on impulse, but I wanted to protect my brother, and that was the main thing. And so, I really didn't care what happened to me after that, just as long as my brother was okay,
Understandable. Your family. So this kid was a distant cousin. How did your family take it? Your parents? Did they turn their back on you? Were they like, hey, we're here for you. We're trying to help you. What happened?
Oh, they believed me after that, and they couldn't believe it. They apologized. My whole bit, they kept apologizing over that. And I told them, I said, look, it's done. You don't have to apologize. I accept your apology.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Tough situation. So you go to prison. You end up with a life sentence, you said, right? But you get out in 29 years. How does it work in Missouri? They give you life. You're eligible for parole. How's that work?
The first time I went up for parole, I had 13 years in. But, everybody knows when you have a life sentence in Missouri, the first time you go up, you ain't going to get a date. They're going to give you a setback, probably a 5-year setback. And that's what they did. They gave me a 5-year setback. And then a 3, and then a couple 2s,
Yeah.
I went up to 6 before I got paroled.
So when you go to that first parole board, you get hit with 5 more years. Like, damn, I see the parole board in 5 years. What was going through your mind? Were you at least hopeful? Like, maybe I'll get it? Was there ever like that hope?
There kind of was, but there's a saying, and it's probably everywhere, but I know it's in Missouri, hope for the best, but expect the worst.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way it was,
Man, wild, wild life. So you're in prison. You end up escaping too, right?
Well, I tried to escape when I was in the county jail, and that didn't work out too well,
Tell me a little bit about the escape.
Well, I was in there with 2 other guys, and we get to talking about it. And at first, I didn't want no part of it, but I kind of mentioned to my brother about it, and he goes, "Man, they're going to slam you, man. You don't need to be in prison." He said, "I'll help you guys with this," and he brought up some hacksaw blades.
So they end up catching you. You don't escape. What do the cops do to you?
They had all 3 of us. They kind of beat us, They threatened us. They trying to find who brought the blades in. And, they slammed all of us around a little bit, But my brother, they already knew who did it because my brother can't believe he did this. He wrote a letter saying, "Did you get the blades? Send it to the jail."
Jesus.
Yeah.
So do they end up charging you with an escape too while you got the murder charge pending?
Yeah.
What they give
you?
I
got charged with both, and they took back the deal. They had offered me 25 years, and they said that was off the table. And I ended up getting a life sentence and 5 for the attempted escape, ran concurrent.
So if you would have got the 25-year sentence, when would you have gotten out of prison?
They told me in about 9 years, 8 or 9 years, I would have done like a third of it.
And you ended up doing 29 years of your life in prison.
Yeah.
We can say the best years of your life, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Was there ever a time when you lost hope?
There was a couple of times, and that's the really main time was when I first got to the walls. That was a bad place. I mean, it was bloody. I mean, there was no cameras. There's blind spots. There's violence all the time. And I came to a point where I thought, everybody's going to die in here sometime or another. And I got a life sentence. My life is over. So nobody better say anything crazy to me because it's over for me anyway,
That's the thing that I want to talk about a little bit, right? Where when you're in your cell, there's times when you're in your cell and you're like, you know what, man? Tomorrow might be the day because I'm never getting out anyway. I got nothing to lose. You know
exactly.
What? So there's been times where because there's been times where I was in my cell and I was like, you know what, man? I feel like just killing one of these dudes tomorrow. I really felt like that.
Right.
Like there's disrespectful dudes. And just like myself, I'm sure you've seen the prison system evolve, right? You've seen it change where it used to be respectful to disrespect, right?
Oh, yeah. Now it's completely different than it was. It's hard to explain, but back then there was a order to the chaos, and there was a respect, like you said, a respect thing. And now there is, and all these young guys coming in, sometimes you just want
Oh, I know. I've been there. What, do they got gangs in the Missouri Department of Corrections over there?
Yeah, they do. They got is it okay if I mention them?
Yeah, 100%.
They got the Bloods, they got the Crips, they got a gang called the SSGs, and they got the family values. Now, the family values, they started out as a gang helping young people coming in. And now it's nothing like it started out to be. It's a violent gang now.
Yeah. What about white gangs? Are there white gangs in prison?
Yeah, the family values and the SSGs.
Those were white gangs. Were
But,
you ever
yeah,
were you ever
but
involved in either of them?
I was I had friends that was in it, people I knew that I associated with that was in them, but I never did join them, even though they asked me a couple times.
Yeah. Being that you were in prison 29 years, did a lot of people respect you?
It seemed like the longer I was in, the more they did.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange, especially the young guys. But and of course all the old heads did, because they knew me.
Yeah.
But
in federal prison, I've said this before on some of my shows and interviews, man. A lot of the white dudes from Missouri, like they're like, to me, they were like the toughest white dudes, man. Like they got busy. All them young white dudes from Missouri, they were tough kids,
yeah.
man. They could fight. They were tough. They would fight at the drop of a hat. Was there a lot of violence in that Missouri Department of Corrections?
Oh yeah, and a lot of it was with the young guys. Like the old heads, they just wanted to do their time, and they wouldn't mess with you really unless you caused them problems. You cause them problems, you better be ready. But the young guys, like you said, they'll drop at the drop of a hat. If they feel disrespected in any way,
yeah.
They're fighting.
What's one of the worst things you've seen over there? You did 29 years. I'm sure you've seen some bad things over there.
A lot, but the one that always comes to mind is I'd only been in prison like a month or so, maybe not even a month, 3 weeks. And I was coming back from chow, and we had these tiers, like 4 tiers. And some kid about my age, about 19 or so, had tied 2 sheets together, tied one around the top rail and tied it around his neck and jumped off. And the reason he did that is because he got robbed of his commissary, and he went and told. So when he went and told, they raped him, and so he killed himself.
How old was he?
He was about 19, 18 or 19.
Wow.
And when I walked, what really got me is when I walked into where the wing, the pod is, the wing is, and he was hanging there, and I'm like, wow, what? And these guys are saying, man, it's none of your business. Keep walking, and just leave that alone. And he says, Ho deserved it anyway. I heard people saying this, I'm like,
yeah.
Wow, I just couldn't believe it.
Crazy things, man. What about gang fights? Have you ever seen any riots in there?
I didn't see too many riots. When I was at Bowling Green, I seen a bunch of Mexicans and blacks get into it. I don't know if the Mexicans were a gang or it was just a group of Mexicans, but it was fighting I think it was the Bloods.
Just fighting, stabbing, hitting with rocks.
Yeah, they locked everything they could. They locked us down for like 2 weeks over that one.
2 weeks. I've been on lockdowns for 90 days over stuff like that.
I have to, they never did lock us down when I was at the walls, MSP, but like Laking, South Central Correctional Center,
yeah,
something kicks off and you're locked down for a month, fed in your cell,
Yeah. I asked you a little bit about the riot thing because, there's some young dudes watching this, right? And really what I want to point out is that sometimes, man, there could be a riot and you could be the dude that gets hit in the head with a rock. You could be the dude that gets stabbed in the neck, right? You might not even be involved. You might just be on the yard. And now it's a full-fledged riot where, it's the whites against the blacks or the blacks against the Hispanics. And you're just like, oh, shit, you're not even involved. And you end up dead. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's very possible, and like if it's a thing like if a big fight or something, where groups are fighting, say it's whites and blacks or whatever, whoever else, then you're kind of expected to help out, your side,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're in a gang or not,
Okay.
you just can't be a bystander, you're going to get involved somehow, even if you don't want to.
Harvey, you said you were a young man when you were growing up. You were a kid and you lived on a farm, right? When you were young, what did you want to be in life, man?
I just wanted to grow up and follow my dad's footsteps. He worked for the Forest Service, and I used to go work with him in the summertime a lot, and hang out there. I love those guys, but I was just enjoying life, hunting, fishing, made good grades, and had nothing to complain about. I didn't grow up in a criminal environment, so when I got to prison, that was all like a shock to me,
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, you're, country boy living on a farm and you end up in a prison cell. What was it like, man, going in a cell after you had been, you kind of lived like a free life, about fishing, farm,
Yeah.
fields, and now you're confined. Did it bother you?
Right. Oh yeah, it did. I mean, because I was out in the woods all the time. I was out in nature, fishing, hunting, and then now I'm in a cage. Especially when I was in jail, pacing back and forth. Like wow, nothing but steel concrete.
Yeah.
And couldn't go anywhere I wanted to go.
Did you plead guilty or did you go to trial?
I took a plea for 25 years, but like I said, they took that away, and then they said, here's the deal we offer you. We offer you life and 5 ran together or trial and everything. If you get found guilty, everything will be ran wild. So I took the plea. But when I was in prison, everybody's telling me, man, you should have never took that plea. Said, we know you was young and 17, but said, I think you had a chance. A lot of people told me that, and I said, well, I didn't know,
It's a hell of a decision for a 17-year-old kid to make, facing, hey, if I lose, I can end up dying in prison, right?
Right. Yeah. Like I never had any trouble with the law or nothing, so I didn't know nothing about the law,
Yeah.
And so,
So there was never any
these guys said,
appeals, never any appeals, nothing.
Never any appeals or anything like that. But like I said, I kind of messed myself up trying to escape, that's what got me the life sentence,
Sometimes we make bad decisions when we're young. I mean, you were stuck in that jail and you're like, man, they're going to
I
smoke
went
my
out.
ass. You can't see past, when you're 17, 18 years old, man, you can't see 10 years in prison, 15, 20 years in prison. You're
You
probably
can't.
like,
You can't imagine it. It's like an eternity, You know, just a couple years, and you're thinking it's forever.
oh, I know. I was sitting in there at the age of 24, ended up with a 40-year sentence. And when he said 40 years, I just couldn't even, I mean, I can't even explain it in words. I can't, it's just, I couldn't even comprehend it. Not on that
You
day.
hear it, yeah, you hear it, but it's not sinking in.
100%. What was the food like in Missouri prisons?
It started out. It wasn't a lot of it wasn't too bad, but it's just gotten worse over time, And really, if you ain't got any money coming in or you ain't got a hustle coming in, you're gonna lose weight, because they give you a 2,000 calorie diet a day, and that's if you eat everything, and most people don't.
Yeah. Hustles. What kind of hustles they got in prison system over there?
Just about like everywhere else, tattooing, drawing, painting. People do artwork for other people, laundry for other people. Just about anything they can think of to make a little bit of money, they do. You got well, I don't really consider this a hustle, but you got the drug man, you got gambling, you got the ticket man.
Everybody's doing something to try to make it, right?
That's right. And I tell you what, you got to stay away from the gambling and the drugs because that'll get you every time. You'll get in debt. I mean, you may think you won't, but you will.
And that's when it all goes bad.
Yeah, it does. That's where a lot of the violence happens. People owing money. I always tried to stay away from the store man, the gambling, and the drugs.
The store man. Tell people about the store man, because the store man is a vicious, vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, if you get stuck in that, you may go and get like one or two things, you know. Next thing you know, he he pretty much owns your next money coming in. So you give him everything you owe him, but then you gotta go back to him because you don't have anything, you know.
That's the store man cycle where okay, you know you're hungry, you get a snack, you get a soda,
Right.
you go back, you get another snack, you and your buddy are gonna make a meal, you're missing a couple things, you go get it from him. Next thing you know, next week your family sends you $100, you owe it to the store man, the whole $100.
Right, and then you have nothing, so you go back again, you know.
It's a vicious, vicious cycle, man.
And the store man loves it when it's like that, you know.
I want to talk a little bit more about the crime, right? Was there times in prison when you had remorse? Was there remorse for this dude, being that he abused your brother? Was there ever any remorse?
Yeah, there is. There's um, I regret. I don't regret protecting my brother. I will never regret that.
No doubt.
I do regret what happened because his family is good people, you know, and it just affected a lot of people. And they don't think that he was like that. So in their minds, I just killed the guy, you know, and I can't blame them for that, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just sorry it had to happen that way. You know, I just wish somebody would have believed me, you know.
Was there ever a point where his family accepted the fact that he was abusing your brother?
That's what I'm saying. No, they haven't. And one of them, his sister contacted me after I got out, and she goes, "I know he wasn't like that. So just tell me why you did it." I said, "I can't tell a lie. You know,
Yeah.
if I say anything else, then I killed him for no reason. You know." And I said, "This is why I done it. I know you don't believe that, and you just I accept that you don't believe me, but this is what happened. You know."
Did the family ever try to contact you while you were in prison? A letter or anything to say, hey,
No, but they came pro hearings to all the pro hearings except for the last one. And my institutional pro officer told me, he said, "That's the reason why you got a date is because they didn't show up."
wow, they came to him every single year.
Yeah, all five of them.
And what they tell him, they said they wanted you to die in prison.
Yeah, they said he didn't deserve to be out. None of that, you know. He said that he killed my brother in cold blood. At first, it was all of them coming in. Towards the end, it was just the sister, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to listen to that, you know. But especially when you know what really happened, you know. But
You had to sit there and listen.
you know, I'd sit there and listen to what they had to say. You can't say nothing to them. I mean, you can, but you can't. They tell you to talk to the parole officer. You know, you can't talk to them. So if you want to say something to them, you got to say it through the parole officer. But yeah, just sitting there listening to them say all that is just like, man, you know.
And when they're sitting there saying that, you know, hey, look, man, my shot of getting out of here is probably not even existent, right? It doesn't even exist. This is it.
Right.
How about
Yeah, on the fifth one,
No, go ahead.
on my fifth pro hearing, the institutional parole officer told me he was rooting for me. He wanted to get out. You know, he says, as long as they keep coming up, your chances of getting out are slim. He said, but I'm doing everything I can to get you out. He says, I know that she has lied on a couple of the pro hearings. We've caught her in the lies. Said she's just doing that to keep you in prison, which I understand, but said, you know, I'm rooting for you, you know, but said, and as long as they keep coming up, your chances are slim.
Yeah. Crazy. How about the parole officers? Were they ever nasty to you, ever telling you need to admit your guilt?
Well, yeah, they did. Like the first one, though, I went to, they used to do this thing where they had three people in the at the pro board. One's just sitting there observing and recording and whatever. Then you had one that would talk nice to you, you know, say good things and stuff. You had one that would try to get under your skin. tried to get you riled up.
Yeah. The good cop, bad cop scenario, huh? Let's see where this guy's at mentally. Let's see if we really can release him. Let's see how he reacts.
Yeah, they're wanting to see how you'll react, handle different things, so they'll say all these crazy things to you, try to make you mad. You just gotta, and I was told that before I went up, they said, listen, you're going to try to get under your skin, don't let them do it,
Did you go in that parole board and tell them, hey, look, man, this is why I killed this guy, because he abused my brother?
Yeah, they didn't want to hear that.
They didn't want to hear it. Unbelievable. Yeah. So you end up getting out of prison. How old were you when you get out?
I was 46. I got out in 2016.
Okay, so you go into prison at, 17, right?
Right.
You turn 18 in prison, and you get out when you're 46. What was the world like?
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I've noticed that a lot of people, they don't have the social contact like they did back in the 80s, It used to be you would call people a lot, or you went and you saw them in person, you go over to their house or whatever. Nowadays, people just message one another, a lot. Sometimes even if they're in the same house, But it wasn't like that when I was out there before, you went and you talked to people directly most of the time,
Yeah.
And technology is a lot different, some things are kind of the same, but a lot of things are different, Of course, when I went to prison, there was no internet,
Yeah. Were you scared coming out?
We wouldn't conversation. Do what?
Were you scared when you got out? Were you a little bit afraid of the world when you were out? Like, wow.
Yeah, I always tell people the 2 times I was the most scared was when I first went to prison and when I got out. Was getting out. It's the unknown,
Yeah. So you get out of prison, right? What did you want to do in your mind? What was one of the first things you wanted to do when you walked out? Whatever it was. Did you want to eat food? Did you want to meet a woman? Did you want to go to a carnival? Did you want to go to a live concert? Did you want to just go home?
I wanted to take a bath.
Harvey, let me tell you something, because this is crazy that you said that. That was one of the most important things to me too, bro. I wanted to take a bath, man. Ain't that crazy? Right. You wanted to take a bath.
Yeah, had showers for years. I just wanted to bath,
No doubt. Sometimes you just want to sit back and relax. And just
I tell you, and I still have this problem, but one of the things I have especially when I first got out is if I'm in a crowded area, I just get paranoid,
Oh, I know.
And if I'm in a restaurant, I gotta sit with my back to the wall, so I can see everybody, and it's.
So you got out. Did you get a job as soon as you got out?
Yeah, it took me about a year, and I worked for this guy named Nick, construction,
Yeah. What are you doing now?
I had to quit my job because of health, So now I started back, and I'm helping my neighbor, working for him, and he does kind of the same thing, construction and stuff. But I'd really like to go back to my old boss, because that dude was cool,
Yeah. It's all good. You got a book out too, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of that book?
Doing Life in Missouri Department of Corrections. Doing Life in Missouri or something like that, I think it's called.
How can people find the book?
Huh?
How can people find that book?
It's on Amazon. It's a Kindle. You got a Kindle ebook, and then it's a paperback too.
I want people to go out. If you're watching this video, go out and grab that book this year. Grab it for someone for Christmas. Grab it for yourself. Check that out on Amazon. I'm going to try to put the link up for you, Harvey.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. You also have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, Harvey Talks Prison. And trying to do the same thing you're doing, trying to get a message out there, keep young people from going to prison. And I want to give ex-cons hope, the ones that are just getting out,
Yeah.
And
hope that what? Hope that what? hope that what? That they can make it?
Yeah, that they can make it, because some of them come out and they ain't got no hope. They think, well, I ain't going to get a job. I'm going to go back, No, you just got to keep your head up,
You're an example, man. You did 27 years, 29 years, and came home.
29 years,
And you're free.
And there's people out there that will hire you, man. You just got to not give up,
What year did you go to prison? 1987?
1987, man.
I want people to think about that. You went to prison in 1987 and you came home in 2016. I want people to take 1 second and reflect on that. Think about that. Think about what that's like. And that was for a murder charge, for something that he did in response to what was going on with his brother. His brother was being abused. So today, if you're watching the video, I want you to think about what it would be like to go to prison in 2021 and come home in 2051. Can you even see that? And that's what you need to think about before you make a choice. 2051. You could walk out of prison in 2051, and they will make sure that that happens. Right, Harvey?
Oh, they will. You got people just need to think about the decisions they make, and who it's going to affect. And it's not affect you; it's going to affect others. Yeah.
So listen, man, before we close, I want you to give a message. You can give it to kids. You can give it to ex-felons, people that are just walking out of prison. Tell me what you got to say.
I just want young people that are out here messing up, doing all this crazy stuff, just to think about it. Think about their decision, because if you get caught doing something and you're with somebody else, most likely they're going to tell on you. They're going to say you're the one that did it, and you get to prison. You're not walking in there. Mommy and daddy can't get you out of everything. You're not walking in that prison on that yard with your mom, dad, and your lawyer. You're walking on that yard by yourself. You got to keep that in mind, and it's not a cool place to be. And like I was telling you earlier, there's crazy people in prison now. It's different now. They're stabbing people over the phones.
It's real, man. There is one more thing I want to ask before we close. Your parents, were they alive when you got out of prison?
No, they passed before I got out. And so did my brother.
Your younger brother?
Yeah.
The one that was being abused never got to see you walk out of prison.
He died 8 months to the day before I got out.
How'd he die?
He had a heart attack.
Man, ain't that something, man? And your parents didn't live to see you go free.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I mean that, bro. I'm sorry to hear that all the way around the board, man. I asked you that question because I'm sure there was people that are going to want to know that answer. Well, now they got it. So listen, I'm going to close the show. I'm going to tell people, man, check out Harvey Talks Prison. We'll try to put up that link. Check out his book. This man did 29 years. He's out here. He's trying to make it, man. Support him. Support what he does. All right? And Harvey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. And anytime, man, reach out to me. I know you always chime in. So I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you too. I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're doing a good thing.
Not a problem. I like doing it, man. So with that, man, we're going to close the show. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Share the video. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.